Hello and welcome to Dining with Death. This episode is on my playlist, Dining with the Deceased, where we visit locations that are supposedly haunted. Today I'm coming to you from downtown Phoenix. The location is the San Carlos Hotel. This is a very old and historic hotel, and many people believe it is in fact home to ghosts. I'm going to take you on a little tour, and of course we're going to eat here. I'm Stacy Lee. Let's begin.
I love a grand old hotel. I think a lot of us do. There's just something so comforting about walking through big, beautiful doors and entering a luxurious lobby. I love to look at the details and the design choices. I like to think about the people who made them and what they would think if they could see how much the world has changed since they had a hand in building these places. I love to imagine people in clothing from bygone eras walking through the hallways and the corridors. I imagine what they would have been talking about, what they were in town for, what they'd be eating for dinner. I think about the past a lot because history really fascinates me, and there is so much history in these grand old ladies. This is Hotel San Carlos. It sits in the heart of Phoenix, Arizona, and it is a beauty. This hotel was built in the Roaring '20s, and you can absolutely see the Art Deco influences of that time all over it. In 1874, settlers built a small one-room adobe schoolhouse on this site. I don't know if they knew at the time, but the Native Americans used this site as part of their worship. About 5 years later, a larger brick building was built. Then in 1893, the school expanded to 16 rooms and was used as a school for the children of Phoenix for the next 25 years. Can you imagine sitting in classes in Phoenix in those old pioneer clothes with no air conditioning? Honestly, I don't know how they did it. The schoolhouse was condemned in 1916, and city officials came in and cleared the site for the development of a luxury hotel. In 1927, Charles Harris purchased the land and began construction. The architect firm was the very famous G. Whitecross Ritchie, based in Los Angeles. The cost of the hotel was $850,000. Inflation is wild, right? You couldn't even buy a corner of the dirt this hotel sits on now for that. The building was designed in the Italian Renaissance style with Art Deco inspiration. It opened on March 20th, 1928, and it was, at the time, the most modern hotel in the entire Southwest United States. It was the first air-conditioned high-rise hotel in Phoenix, and it had hand-operated elevators. Believe it or not, these beautiful copper doors on the elevators are the original doors. Isn't that incredible? These doors have been here for almost 100 years. During the 1930s, 40s, and 50s, this hotel was the hub for all of Phoenix's social elite, and it was also a destination for Hollywood stars. There were a lot of movies filmed in this area back then, and Hotel San Carlos served as the home for the stars and the crew while they were being made. Let's go outside, and I'll show you the little walk of fame they have created on the sidewalk that surrounds the hotel. Here you can see a star for Spencer Tracy. Here's one for Clark Gable, Mae West, Carole Lombard, and even for Marilyn Monroe. The stars are all around the hotel, and I love the signatures on them. I love thinking about those stars staying right here during their shoots. It's very nostalgic. In 1974, the hotel was officially recognized as a state historic landmark. Perhaps even more noteworthy is the fact that it has been in continuous operation since it opened in 1928. I find that to be incredible because we visit a lot of very old and historic properties, but most of them have been through several incarnations. They close for a while, they're sold, then someone who loves the property comes along and purchases it, fixes it up, and reopens it, but not Hotel San Carlos. This gal has been working since the doors opened. It's pretty fantastic. In 2003, the property underwent a multi-million-dollar renovation that included modernizing all of the amenities, the pipes, the electrical, the plumbing, that type of thing. But the historic fabric and atmosphere of the hotel has been nicely preserved. The exterior of the hotel is stunning. Look at the intricate detail in the flourishes on the lower floors. And I also love the detail at the top. In woodworking, that's called dental molding because it kind of looks like teeth. I'm not sure if that's what it's called in architecture, but whatever it's called, it's beautiful. There's a little cafe on the ground floor and a restaurant as well. Here you can see the plaque listing it as one of America's historic hotels. As you step through the doors and into the lobby, you're instantly transported back in time. The mirrors that line the corridor help make the space feel bigger than it is, and I love this gorgeous, oversized, ornate chandelier. I also love the front desk. Look at that beautiful Art Deco detail with SC on it. To think of all the people that have stood right here over the last 100 years checking in for their stay, I love it. As you can see, there's lots of beautiful woodwork, lots of molding, and the stacked brick look of the exterior continues inside. These are also the original sandstone floors. Again, remarkable. Most places like this have undergone extensive renovations, and very little original material is left. So it's a real treat to walk on the same floors as so many other visitors who have long left this existence. The place is furnished with lots of very heavy, oversized, and ornate pieces, lots of marble, and lots of big, beautiful mirrors. The manager led us into this little back area and showed us the original safe. Isn't this amazing? I wonder if Marilyn Monroe stored any of her jewelry in there. These types of pieces are my favorite. Something very personal about them, you know? As you pass through the lobby, you come to a bar area, tucked away behind the front desk. Once again, this is the original bar. Fabulous! You can almost see Clark Gable sitting here having a drink, right? Right here at this very bar. That bar leads into this small sitting area that's furnished with ornate furniture and features colored glass pane windows. You don't see these small areas in newer buildings. Everything now is larger than life, grander than grand, and I love that too. But there's something very sweet about this tiny little alcove, very intimate. It reminds me that people used to sit and have conversations. They didn't have cell phones in their hands or screens in every sight line. They just used to sit and talk. The hotel has lined the walls with press clippings and old photos, and I loved reading the history and seeing the old articles. And then on the opposite side of the lobby is this small ballroom. The hotel manager was so great. He gave us so much information. The sound on our interview is poor. I wasn't expecting someone so friendly, or I would have mic'd him, but he told us so much about the hotel and the history. And I always love it when I run into someone who truly loves their job and loves the old property they work at. It makes me happy to know the place is in good hands, and it definitely is here. Apparently, there is a local theater group that hosts a murder mystery night here once a month, and this room is also host to lots of weddings, many of them 1920s themed. This would be the perfect place for that type of event. The ballroom has a small sitting area off to the side that features sofas and a beautiful grand piano. It's very cozy and again serves as a nice place to sit and visit with friends or family. I'm kind of obsessed with this giant photo of early downtown Phoenix. I'm so grateful for the photographers back in the day, and I often wonder if they knew just how important their work was. You know, if they knew that the photos they took back then would be our only window into what places looked like so long ago. The detail on the ceiling in this area is pretty fantastic as well, and I was thrilled to find they have the actual newspaper from the day the hotel opened on display. People really loved and cared for this old hotel even back then, and it shows. Through the original copper doors of the elevators is the lift to the rooms above. One thing that always strikes me in these old buildings is how low the ceilings are and how tiny the doors are. I know more than a few people who would have to bend down to enter these rooms. People are so much taller and bigger now than they used to be, aren't they? Look at these old photos of an infamous crime. I particularly liked these, and I knew you guys would too. I ran into this corner. I have a feeling this was probably used for coat check and perhaps valet parking. But look at how tiny this door is. It's like the door to a playhouse. No way you could fit a wheelchair through that, or even a modern day taller person. It's so small. I'm kind of obsessed with old keys. In my restaurant, I had a metal worker fabricate this giant skeleton key for my wall. Isn't it amazing? My grandfather was a collector of old keys, and I've just always loved them. So I was thrilled to see that the hotel still has the original skeleton keys for each room. Isn't this a treasure? I'm not going to lie, I had a brief moment of like, how do I get out of here with these? They've got old pamphlets and matchbooks from decades past, and I think it's great that someone has preserved all of this history. But you know what channel you're watching. This is Dining with Death. So, of course, today we are here to talk not only about the hotel, but about the ghosts that supposedly live here. Just weeks after the grand opening of the hotel on May 27, 1928, a young woman named Leone Jensen checked into Hotel San Carlos. She was given room 720, which is in the corner of the building at the top. The story goes that Leone suffered a breakup with one of the hotel bellboys, and she was heartbroken. On the night of the 27th, she walked to the roof of the hotel and out to this corner high above the street. Leone looked down on the passersby who stood frozen with shock at the pretty blonde woman on the edge above. After just a moment or two, Leone stepped off the roof and plunged to her death. The grisly scene was reported in the papers, and area residents were stunned by the tragedy. Not long after Leone met her end, guests at the hotel began reporting a mysterious woman in white. One man ran downstairs and told the bell clerk that someone else had a key to his room. He was asleep in bed and awoke to see a woman in a white dress standing at the foot of his bed watching him. Another guest fled the hotel around midnight when she and her husband saw a white figure walk across their room and disappear into the door. There have been so many sightings of the woman in white over the years that many believe the hotel is haunted, but Leone isn't its only ghost. Ever since the 1930s, guests have reported seeing children in the hallways and corners of the hotel. Many times they are crying, sitting on the ground with their heads buried in their arms. Others claim they've heard children's voices and footsteps running through the hallways or laughing in the basement, and several people report being tapped on or having their hair pulled. Many believe that the children are the spirits of those who attended the Phoenix School so long ago, and believe the haunting is caused by the fact that the entire site is built on a piece of land the Native Americans used in part of their worship. In 1948, the hotel experienced another sad event. A young woman climbed from her hotel window out onto the ledge, but was pulled back inside before she could jump. In 2004, a man succeeded jumping from the rooftop. There is a group of young boys seen running down the hallways, kicking a ball and making noise. Some guests have actually approached the boys and told them to be quiet, only to find out later there is no group of boys checked in at the hotel. Just before the school closed, the Spanish flu pandemic swept the world, and some believe the ghosts to be those of people who died from the virus. There isn't much debate among those who spend time here at Hotel San Carlos. This is a very, very haunted location, and if you stay here, there is a good chance you won't be staying alone. Now, as we always do here on Dining with Death, we eat in our haunted location. This is Seamus McCaffrey's Pub, and it's right next door to Hotel San Carlos. I love an Irish pub, so this was a no-brainer. We stepped inside the dark and cozy little place that had the air conditioning on high, thank goodness. We ordered a pint because that's like the law, isn't it, in an Irish pub? We had a bite to eat. We tried the Irish stew, which was great. It was warm and hearty and full of all things Irish. The menu said it was made with Guinness, and it was delicious. The vibe of this place is very vintage and nostalgic, and it fits in really well with the Hotel San Carlos. It's a really cute little place. I can imagine a fun place to hang out with friends or watch a ball game. I have a feeling it's kind of a local's favorite as well. The bartender seemed to know everybody here. This is simply a beautiful property, a very historic property, and one that I'm happy is being well taken care of. It's such a grand place that it appears some former visitors have decided to stay for good.
Thank you for joining me today on Dining with Death, Dining with the Deceased. Hit the like button if you liked the video and subscribe to my channel if you want to support me. You can also join my Patreon to support me, and there will be some bonus content there. Stay safe, my friends, and be kind to each other, and I'll see you next time on Dining with Death. Bye.